If you're looking for a Mother's Day gift that doesn't wilt by Wednesday or become one more thing that mom has to keep alive, I have a different idea for you: toy flowers. Hey, Play Pals, welcome back to the podcast. Now, I started thinking about how often we give flowers to moms and all the mom type people in our lives. And real flowers are beautiful, but they have a very short storyline. They arrive, they look pretty, and they slowly wither away. And then someone, usually mom, has to throw them away and wash the vase. Now, plants can, yes, feel like the alternative option, but let's be honest, they can also feel like giving mom a responsibility with leaves, right? Happy Mother's Day. Here's another living thing that depends on you. So, yes, some people love real flowers and plants, but for others, it's a little bit more mature. So, that's why I started thinking about toy flowers and those flower themed craft kits. And not the ones where you now have to run around all the different craft stores and find all the supplies and get glue and all the things. No, everything is in one box. And this toy, yes, it could be a gift in itself, but what makes it special is that the child is making with the toy can become the gift. And that's what makes this category so good for Mother's Day. Kids get off the screens too. They get to sit down with their hands. They get to create something. They practice fine motor skills and patience and creativity, but they're also practicing thoughtfulness, right? They're thinking about what would mom like or what color should I use for grandma? It's empathy in action. I think this is the best gift for Mother's Day. Before we get started, just a quick note. Some of the products featured in this episode were provided by the brands at my request. I wasn't compensated for mentioning them, and they were donated after the show. So here are the few flower-themed toys that I think you should consider. And the first one is the Play-Doh Blooming Flowers set from Hasbro. And I think this is such a nice option for younger kids. So if you have a preschooler who wants to make something for Mother's Day, but is not quite ready for those complicated craft kits or doesn't want to use, scissors, popsicle sticks, and, glue and crayons, I think this is a really good fit. And the idea is that kids make pretend flowers using Play-Doh. Yes, it's supposed to be like a little mini garden with a little shovel and the like, but the idea is you take the Play-Doh and you have the little flower molds and these little pots, and you create these little flowers that you can then gift. And there's actually 3 pots in here. So in theory, there are 3 different flowers that you can give to somebody. And I also love the potential of this. So not only is it something that they're going to be creating, there's some that sensory play and the ability to be able to give 3 different gifts, but you can also swap out the Play-Doh that's in here with like air dry clay. So if you want something to last a little longer, they still get that manipulability, that sensory play, but it dries in about 24 hours. And then they have that ability to have something last longer. Now, for younger kids, sometimes the thought of giving a gift and like not seeing it again can be really hard for them. So what I really like about this is that they can have this creativity option, be able to build this, to make this, and then give it to the mom figure in their life, talk about it, share the creative process, but then to be able to take it back or bring it back to the set and play with it. So it's an opportunity for a mom to be able to come and sit down and play with her kids after the fact and say, you know what, let's go make a flower together, and be able to do that. Now, if for some reason you do decide the best thing to do is to give away these 3 flowers, it's still not a one and done, right? So the only thing that you've lost is some Play-Doh and those containers, but you can find other containers around the house, right? Yogurt containers that you have left over, wash them out, let kids paint them, and then they can use it as flower pots as an alternative. And of course, you can always buy more Play-Doh. So it's not something that's one and done. It's something that can even last long beyond Mother's Day. So another one I want to share is this Poke in Art flower bouquet from Skillmatics. They have a roses version, but they also have this general flower bouquet version with a variety of different shapes of flowers and different colors. And I think this is such a great Mother's Day option because the finished product actually does feel giftable. And you have everything that you need to actually create a little bouquet. And there are 10 flowers in the set. You have 10 different shaped foam flowers, and there's a little dot in the center of them as well as little dots all around. And the idea is that you poke little holes in the dots and you place one of the included fabric squares in the dots, and then you start building this little 3D flower. And you have everything that you need, which is tons of already pre-cut squares. You have the flower shapes and you have the little poke-in tool, and you even have the wooden dowels for the stems. So what I like about this is it has the satisfaction of the craft without the mess, right? There's no glue, there's no cutting, there's no painting, there's no coloring. So if you're a parent who hears the word craft project and you're immediately going, oh, I think it's the easiest thing. And in fact, even all the little flower squares store right inside this zippered container. And what I really like about it is that it's so simple and satisfying because as you're poking in the different fabric squares into the flower slots, it's just this fine motor control. They're working on patience. They have to follow a process, right? You have to do it one at a time, one hole at a time. And they're seeing how one small action repeated over and over can turn into something amazing. Now, of course, once you're finished with all the fabric squares and you've gifted out all the different foam pieces, technically you might think, oh, this is all done. But in actuality, before you go ahead and do the project, my suggestion would be use these as templates. So go get a piece of cardboard and you can cut out the different shapes. And then later on, all you have to do is make little holes with, a screwdriver or something like that, and just make your own little fabric squares, which at the end of the day is really not that hard. And then you can do it again and again with some cardboard. But what I really like about it, as I mentioned before, there are 10. So you could give 10 different flowers. You could do a whole bouquet of 10, or you could do 5 and 5. There's different options. So you can definitely let the money go far, let the gifting go far as well, or you can make it one big hero piece. So love the flexibility and options with that one. Now, the next one is the Craftastic Let's Learn a Pipe Cleaner art from Play Monster. This one is great for kids who are ready to learn a new crafting technique. So with this kit, kids twist and wrap and shape colorful pipe cleaners into a handmade bouquet. And all the pipe cleaners you're going to need in here. There's also these like straw looking things that are stem. Again, everything you need in here, as well as the craft book that actually has 3 different levels. So there's simpler flowers, there's intermediate flowers, and there's more complex like 3D roses. So there's a lot of different options in here for kids who might want a little bit more challenge or want a little bit easier or combination. Lots of play potential in here. And what I also really like about it is that kids are learning a new skill. They're learning a new craft. They get to learn, for example, how to make a bumblebee out of pipe cleaners. And what I also like about it is that the pipe cleaners are very forgiving, right? They're flexible, they're easy to manipulate, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I love it for kids who sometimes get a little hung up on perfection, and this is not it. And so kids can start off and just make a whole beautiful bouquet. Now, again, it is almost a one and done set because, obviously once you finish the pipe cleaners and the like, it's done. But you actually get to keep, obviously, the directions on how to make all the different types of flowers. So yes, you're going to have to, at this point, go out and buy some more pipe cleaners, go out and buy some green straws. But again, now they learned how to make flowers out of pipe cleaners. That's a skill set, and that is something that they can do over and over again with the included instruction booklet. If you want more toy guidance, just hit subscribe or head to playroomchronicles.com/funvault for free printables to download. Okay, so the next one I want to share is the flower origami kit from Pinwheel Crafts. So this is a good option for kids who want something a little bit more focused and precision-like. So this kit comes with 100 sheets of origami paper, and there's 20 like bendable stems and decorative buttons and jewels, and of course, a detailed origami book with step-by-step instructions. So everything, again, is in the box, which I love. So you're not running around the house looking for all the different embellishments. But origami is one of those crafts that's really good for kids because it asks them to slow down. They have to follow steps. They have to fold carefully. They have to pay attention to direction and sequence. And sometimes they have to try again because the first fold might not land exactly right. And that's not a bad thing. It's part of the learning. So for Mother's Day, I really like this because it's delicate and it's thoughtful, and you can create a bouquet. Or you can actually create the individual flowers and like even put it in a picture frame. So you have different options on how you actually want to gift the origami flowers that you make. So love the potential there. And of course, you get to keep the instruction book afterwards. So even though there's 100 pieces of origami paper, when you eventually run out, you can obviously buy more origami paper and you can then use the instruction book to make it again and again. So it's almost a lifetime skill that you can be able to have starting off with this set. And I love the potential of creativity and how you gift your origami flowers. Now, the next one I want to share is a little different, and I really like it for kids who are more into building and science and how things work. And it's the solar flower from Thames and Cosmos. So it's basically a kinetic sculpture that kids build, and it turns into this motorized flower with moving petals that's powered by the sun. So instead of a flower that's wilting, this is a flower that moves when the sun shines on it. I mean, talk about sustainability and eco-friendly. So I think it's a deal for not only a child who really wants to focus on STEM and building and likes motors and gears and how energy works, but also the final product is perfect for somebody who's really into sustainability, who's really into eco-friendly living, and maybe typically might not have flowers, but this is a one that they now have a flower that's powered by the sun. It is so on spot perfect. So definitely check that out depending on who the giftee is and what kiddo is making it. Now, the last one, I feel I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, and that is the LEGO Botanicals collection from the LEGO group. They're gorgeous flowers. I mean, I've always had this one on my coffee table for the last couple of years. There's so many varieties out there that you can definitely find the right vibe that you want, the right flower type, the right color scheme, and the right level. But the newest one out there is called the Flower Wall. Now, I'm in the middle of building it myself, so this is not quite complete, but this is what it looks like. And eventually, when it's done, it looks like this. And what I really love about it is that it is supposed to go on the wall. So now you have a decor piece. And yes, you could put it flat and almost have a centerpiece if you want, but the idea is it's like a trellis that hangs on the wall. And what I especially love about it is basically twofold. First is my suggestion of actually buying a few of these sets up front because you never know if they're going to sell out and not be available. So I would suggest getting a few because what's fun about it is that you can add on to it. So you can go see that they have different flower wall pieces put together to spell out letters. You can just do a whole square and now it becomes like truly a flower wall. And so I think it's fun to make it for this Mother's Day and then add on it for the next Mother's Day and the next Mother's Day and the next Mother's Day. And it's just something that keeps building upon itself and the memories keep building with it too. Another opportunity is that the fact is this is 18 plus, which generally means it's for older kids. I do find that it's probably great for kids who are 12 and 13, not necessarily 18, because I did it myself and I don't feel like I'm a big master Lego builder. And it takes about 3 hours, so it can be done on a Saturday afternoon. But it's one of those things where as our kids start getting into the teenage years and the college years, sometimes the best gift for moms is time. So one of the things you do is you get this and you sit down and you make it with mom. So then when she hangs it on the wall, she remembers not only that you made it for her, but that you spent time together making it. And I think that makes it one of the best Mother's Day gifts. So the bigger idea here in this podcast episode is that flowers, yes, are a classic Mother's Day gift, but I think there's a way that you can think beyond real flowers. Because yes, real flowers are lovely, but they're not the only option. So maybe this year the bouquet is made out of Play-Doh. Maybe it's fabric squares. Maybe it's pipe cleaners. Maybe it's origami paper. Maybe it runs on solar power. Or maybe it's made out of Lego bricks that hangs on the wall. The point is not that one is better than the other, like real flowers versus plant versus a toy flower. The point is that the gift can become the experience. And that experience gives kids a chance to create and build skills and think about someone else. That's a pretty good Mother's Day win. So I hope this gave you some fun ideas. And if you like this episode, please subscribe and like and follow and all the things I'm supposed to remind you to do. But generally, I appreciate it. And you can find me at playroomchronicles.com or on social at Playroom Chronicles. As until next time, happy playing, happy creating. And for those of you who celebrate, happy Mother's Day.